My name is Rachel and I've been in Papua New Guinea for the last 9 months doing a medical elective. I'm originally from Sheffield and my sending church is Christchurch Fulwood. Global mission, medical mission is something that I've always had a heart for. I grew up reading stories of missionaries working in places all over the world. That instilled in me a real desire to be part of that work. I knew that God's heart was for all nations and that He was working in so many different ways, in so many different places. When I first arrived, I was really shocked at just, the terrain. Even in the capital city, it was so mountainous. And when we got in the car, I remember the doctor saying, "Oh, you see that mountain range in the far distance? Yeah, Compium is beyond that mountain range." I was like, oh my goodness, where on earth am I going? This is so far away. There is still great gospel need in Papua New Guinea. It's still quite a young church. There's a lot of discipleship need, and there's still a real tension of the Christian culture and how that fits in with their culture. Some of the challenges that I had when I was in Papua New Guinea came with the medical work that I was doing. Parents might walk for days with their kids to get to the hospital when they were sick, and then they arrived at the hospital and I felt like, oh, they've made it, they've done their bit, now it's our turn to do our bit and we should save them. But sometimes it was still too late. Either they were too sick or we didn't have the right equipment or resources to actually help them, and so they still died, which I found really hard to take at times. Similarly with the healthcare, that I found hard was their cycle of violence. It's a very violent culture. They all walk around with their bush knives, their machetes, as an accessory. A man holding a bush knife is like a woman holding a handbag, or us having our phone in our pocket or something. So it's kind of an item of clothing, but they do use their machetes sadly as well. As a medic, it was interesting to see these injuries, but when you understood what the root of it was from, it was just really heartbreaking to see that. And it felt like we were patching up the wounds a little bit rather than solving the problem, and I think that will take a lot longer in terms of how do we change this culture of violence. Through the hard things and through seeing awful things like that, it really just pushed me to know that actually God's ways are the only way that true hope and healing can come. Like His forgiveness, His redemption is the only thing that can change cultures. My time in Papua New Guinea was a really encouraging time in so many ways. I felt God was so present the whole time. It is really sad and really hard and maybe stressful and too much, but He knew the place I was going and that actually it would be the perfect place for me. And that's really encouraging for the future as well, as I think about going into long-term mission in the future. As I settle back into life at home, again, it might feel like a big sacrifice to give some of the home comforts up. But I can remember that God is enough and God will provide. And that's something that I really want to hold on to as I go into different situations and wherever God leads in the future.